Satellite images show nothing, but ancient monks claim it's right there. Is Shambhala a spiritual myth or a forbidden kingdom the world's superpowers are terrified you'll find? In the heart of the Himalayas, hidden beyond ice-covered peaks and sacred valleys, whispers of a lost kingdom still echo through time. This is not just a myth, it is a mystery that has inspired monks, emperors, and secret societies for centuries. Known as Shambhala, it is said to be a land of peace, wisdom, and unimaginable power. But is it only a spiritual symbol, or was it once a real place, buried beneath snow and legend? Ancient prophecies speak of a time when Shambhala will rise again to defeat darkness. Explorers have searched for it, mystics have dreamed of it, and today we ask, could there be truth hidden behind this sacred tale?
Shambhala is described in ancient Tibetan texts as a hidden kingdom, protected by snow-covered mountains and fierce guardians. It is said to be ruled by enlightened kings and inhabited by beings who have transcended suffering. The location is never clear. Some believe it lies in the Himalayas, while others link it to dimensions beyond the physical world. Legends claim it can only be found by those who are spiritually pure and truly ready. For centuries, Buddhist monks have guarded the teachings of Shambhala in silence. The Kalachakra texts describe it not only as a place but also as a prophecy, one that foretells a final battle between light and darkness. Some believe that the entrance is hidden in plain sight, disguised as a monastery or a valley untouched by time. Early maps from India, China, and Tibet contain markings that may point toward its existence. But the deeper the stories go, the more the lines blur between fact and faith. What makes Shambhala so powerful is not just the mystery of its location, but the possibility that such a place could exist at all. It represents the hope for a perfect society, one guided by wisdom instead of war. Over time, the idea spread beyond Asia, inspiring seekers around the world. Whether taken as literal or symbolic, Shambhala continues to stir something ancient in the human soul. It calls to our longing for meaning, balance, and peace, and it dares us to believe that hidden truths still remain undiscovered.
To understand Shambhala, we must look beyond the legends and into the sacred texts of Tibetan Buddhism. These writings, passed down through generations of monks, hold detailed descriptions of the kingdom's purpose and destiny. They speak not only of geography, but of spiritual progression and cosmic balance. According to the Kalachakra teachings, Shambhala is the source of a great cycle of time, a place untouched by corruption. It is more than a safe haven, it is a symbol of humanity's potential when guided by compassion and wisdom. The prophecies tell of a future war where Shambhala's king will rise to defeat ignorance and restore harmony. These teachings are not meant to be taken lightly. For believers, Shambhala is not myth, but destiny. And even if we never reach it physically, its message may be more relevant today than ever before. So what exactly do these ancient texts reveal?
In the Kalachakra Tantra, one of the most sacred texts in Tibetan Buddhism, Shambhala is portrayed as a realm of enlightenment. It is described as having a circular capital city called Kalapa, surrounded by 8 petals, like a lotus, symbolizing purity and balance. The texts list the names of its kings, beginning with Suchandra and ending with Rudrachakran, the prophesied ruler who will emerge in a time of global decline. Each ruler is said to pass down wisdom, maintaining peace and inner awakening among their people. The texts also refer to Shambhala as a land where meditation is perfected and suffering has been overcome. Some scholars believe these writings are metaphors for the journey of self-realization, yet others argue they describe an actual civilization, hidden and protected for millennia. The descriptions are so detailed, complete with geography, lineage, and political structure, that many wonder if they are based on a real place. According to prophecy, in an age of chaos, a great battle will unfold. The final king will lead an army not with weapons of destruction, but with the power of mind and spirit. This moment is believed to mark the end of a dark era and the beginning of a new one. For followers of Tibetan Buddhism, Shambhala represents more than hope. It is a promised future. The texts offer a vision of what humanity can become. Whether myth or map, the prophecy of Shambhala continues to inspire seekers to this day.
Shambhala is often described as a perfect realm, but perfection in myth usually hides a deeper lesson. Across cultures, the idea of a hidden paradise often comes with a warning. In the case of Shambhala, that warning is subtle but powerful. The kingdom is said to appear only when the world is on the brink of collapse. This is not just a tale of escape, it is a challenge to humanity. Are we worthy of such a place? Have we grown spiritually enough to even recognize it? The legends suggest that only those who have purified their hearts can find the path. Shambhala is not given, it must be earned. And through these ancient stories, a question emerges. What happens if we fail?
Throughout the centuries, the story of Shambhala has shifted from a sacred prophecy to a cultural mirror, reflecting both our dreams and our fears. Tibetan monks preserve these tales in secrecy, sharing them only with advanced students. Some versions describe a radiant kingdom guarded by spiritual beings who wait for the right moment to return. Others warn the Shambhala will remain hidden forever if humanity continues to choose conflict over wisdom. In Mongolian legends, Shambhala is linked to King Gezar, a warrior hero said to return when darkness rises. Indian accounts associate it with ancient rulers who vanished into the mountains after mastering cosmic energy. Even Chinese writings mention a peaceful valley beyond the western frontier, where time moves differently. These variations suggest that Shambhala is not a fixed story, but a living myth, changing shape based on who is telling it. But one message remains consistent. Shambhala is never found by force. It appears to those who seek harmony over control, balance over greed. In this way, the legend becomes a test of intention, not a reward for conquest. It reminds us that paradise is not only a place, it is a possibility. And the real question is whether we are willing to change ourselves before we try to find it.
The legends of Shambhala speak of a kingdom hidden beyond mountains and clouds. But what if that kingdom is not only symbolic? For centuries, travelers have wondered whether such a place could physically exist, tucked between remote valleys and glacial peaks. The Himalayas stretch across 5 countries and hold some of the least explored regions on Earth. Many ancient paths remain unmarked, and entire communities live in isolation even today. Could Shambhala be one of these forgotten corners? Stories from locals often mention strange lights, vanished travelers, and lands that cannot be mapped. These tales blur the line between folklore and geography. And perhaps that is the point. Shambhala may not be hidden by magic, but by our unwillingness to look deeper. If such a kingdom exists, it may not be far away. It may be closer than we think.
The Himalayas are home to more than just rugged landscapes. They guard secrets older than written history. Ancient routes such as the Silk Road and the Salt Trade Path once passed through these regions, yet entire zones remain untouched by modern exploration. In places like Zanskar, Dolpo, and parts of Bhutan, there are villages that still follow traditions unchanged for centuries. Some of these communities claim origins that trace back to a sacred land beyond the snow. Explorers like Nicholas Roerich believed Shambhala could be one of these hidden locations. Roerich documented unusual magnetic disturbances and local guides speaking of a forbidden valley filled with light. Satellite imagery has revealed cave systems, underground rivers, and unexplained heat signatures beneath the ice. While none of this proves Shambhala's existence, it deepens the mystery. Some researchers argue that Shambhala may have been an ancient city destroyed or buried over time. Others propose that it was a sanctuary, built deliberately to be undetectable. In either case, the idea that something extraordinary could remain undiscovered in one of the most isolated regions on Earth is not far-fetched. The Himalayas are more than just mountains. They are a vast and veiled world. And in that world, the door to Shambhala may still stand, waiting to be seen by the right eyes.
While monks and mystics viewed Shambhala as a realm of peace, others saw it as a source of hidden power. In the early 20th century, this legend took a darker turn. Secret societies in Europe began to interpret Shambhala not as a spiritual paradise, but as a key to ultimate knowledge and control. Among them were members of the Nazi elite, obsessed with uncovering ancient wisdom to support their ideologies. They believed that traces of a superior civilization were hidden in the east, and Shambhala fit perfectly into that vision. Expeditions were launched not to understand, but to claim. These missions combined politics, pseudoscience, and occult beliefs in ways that blurred the line between myth and manipulation. The search for Shambhala was no longer about enlightenment. It became a quest fueled by power, secrecy, and control.
In the 1930s, the German organization known as the UNNRB sent expeditions to Tibet under the direction of Heinrich Himmler, one of the highest-ranking Nazi officials. Himmler believed that the origins of an ancient master race could be linked to Central Asia, and that Shambhala might hold the key to that legacy. Accompanied by scientists, photographers, and SS officers, the expedition set out under the guise of academic research. But documents and recovered journals suggest they were searching for something far more elusive: esoteric wisdom and relics tied to lost civilizations. Their interest in Shambhala was closely tied to Thule and Aryan mythology, reinterpreted through a political and mystical lens. Local lamas were questioned about hidden texts, ancient maps, and caves rumored to lead to sacred lands. Some accounts claim that the Nazi team participated in secret rituals in remote monasteries. Whether fact or myth, their journey is a chilling example of how legends can be distorted for dangerous purposes. The allure of Shambhala was used to justify racial superiority and global domination. After the war, recovered materials showed that they believed Shambhala was not merely spiritual, but a place of ancient technology and forgotten power. This dark chapter reminds us that even the purest myths can be manipulated by those who seek control. The question remains, did they find anything? Or were they simply chasing a dream that was never meant to be possessed?
For some, Shambhala is a mystical realm of the spirit. For others, it is a lost civilization with technology far beyond what we understand. These two visions may seem very different, yet they often intersect. Across various cultures, sacred knowledge and scientific wisdom were once seen as one and the same. Could Shambhala represent a forgotten era where this harmony existed? Ancient texts speak of inner light, perfect balance, and energy beyond fire and stone. These are spiritual ideas, but they sound remarkably close to descriptions of advanced technology. Perhaps Shambhala is not only a refuge for the soul, but a memory of something real. A place where knowledge and virtue were not divided. And if so, decoding the myth might mean questioning everything we know about history.
Shambhala's dual nature, as both a sacred kingdom and a center of wisdom, has sparked countless interpretations. In Buddhist texts, it is described as a land where physical suffering does not exist, and enlightenment is the norm. Yet these same texts mention precise architectural layouts, geometric symmetry, and systems of light and sound that suggest something more structured. Some researchers have compared these accounts to blueprints of an ancient city governed by advanced principles of science and consciousness. The Sanskrit term Shambhala itself can mean place of tranquility, but also implies an origin point, a center from which knowledge radiates. This has led to theories that Shambhala may have been a cradle of early human or even pre-human development. Others suggest it was a vault of information, encoded through myth and metaphor to survive cycles of destruction. The link between spiritual elevation and intellectual advancement is found in other traditions too, from Atlantis to Lemuria, from ancient Egypt to Vedic India. Each speaks of a golden age lost to time, where humans lived in harmony with higher truths. Shambhala may be another echo of this archetype. Whether it represents a real civilization or a state of mind, the myth endures because it speaks to a deep desire for unity between the material and the divine. And perhaps the true message of Shambhala is not about what we find, but about what kind of world we are meant to create.
Shambhala may have begun as legend, but its pursuit has never stayed in the past. In recent decades, adventurers, spiritual seekers, and researchers have continued the search, each with their own reasons. Some travel to remote Himalayan monasteries in hopes of hidden maps or ancient guidance. Others study satellite images, alignments, or forgotten languages that might point the way. But not all who seek Shambhala do so with their feet. Many turn inward, believing the path is spiritual. For them, meditation, dreams, and inner transformation are the true trail markers. Still, the physical search continues, quietly and often far from headlines. So where does that leave us today? Are we getting closer to discovering Shambhala, or are we finally learning how to understand it?
In the 20th and 21st centuries, expeditions in the Himalayas have grown more sophisticated, with drones, satellite scans, and digital archaeology. Scientists are now able to analyze terrain previously unreachable, while spiritual explorers still rely on traditional teachings and intuition. Some expeditions have uncovered ancient paths and ruins never before recorded. Others report encounters with isolated monks who speak of a place that cannot be reached by ordinary means. Meanwhile, mystics from East and West describe visions of radiant landscapes and cities of light. Some claim these are not hallucinations, but glimpses into parallel realms or higher states of consciousness. There are even modern lamas who teach that Shambhala is already awakening, not as a place, but as a shift in human awareness. New Age thinkers, however, often mix ancient teachings with speculative ideas, creating confusion around what is genuine. Still, the central theme remains. Shambhala is not just about location, it is about readiness. The question is no longer only, where is it? But also, are we prepared to enter if it appeared? The modern search reflects a deeper truth. Humanity is still trying to reconnect with something pure, wise, and timeless, and in that effort, maybe we are already walking the path to Shambhala.
After all the stories, teachings, and searches, one question still lingers. Why has Shambhala remained hidden for so long? Is it because it never existed, or because it was never meant to be found easily? Some believe the myth was designed as a safeguard, protecting sacred knowledge from misuse. Others see it as a collective memory, fragments of a real civilization woven into spiritual teachings. Perhaps Shambhala vanished not into the clouds, but into time itself, sealed away by wisdom rather than walls. And maybe it was never about a destination, but about transformation, a test of our intent, our balance, and our values. In the end, Shambhala may still be waiting, but not for discovery, for awakening, the kind that happens within us before it can ever happen outside of us.
When we trace the layers of Shambhala's story, from ancient texts and oral traditions to modern interpretations, we begin to see a pattern. It is not just a story of a hidden kingdom, it is a map of human evolution, pointing toward inner peace, higher wisdom, and harmony between worlds. Cultures across the globe, from Tibet to Siberia, India to the Andes, speak of luminous cities or sacred lands that appear only to the pure-hearted. These similarities are too consistent to dismiss. If Shambhala is a myth, it is one that refuses to die. If it is a memory, it is one that humanity keeps reaching for. And if it is a truth, then it is a truth wrapped in protection, emerging only when the time is right. Perhaps that time is not measured by history, but by human consciousness. The myth remains alive because we still need it. It reminds us that beyond conflict, greed, and confusion, there is another way to live, a path guided by clarity, compassion, and connection. And maybe that path, if followed sincerely, will lead us not only to Shambhala, but to ourselves.
The journey through Shambhala's story is more than a search for a hidden place. It is a reflection of who we are and who we hope to become. Across time, across cultures, the myth has endured not because it offers easy answers, but because it dares to ask the deepest questions. It speaks of a world in balance, untouched by fear and greed, where wisdom and compassion guide every step. Whether it is real, symbolic, or something in between, Shambhala challenges us to look inward before we look outward. Perhaps its gates will open not with maps, but with understanding. Maybe it is not lost, but waiting for humanity to be ready. If you felt something stir within you during this journey, maybe that is the first sign that the path is closer than you think. Thank you for watching. If this video resonated with you, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We have many more mysteries to explore together.